to our theory week. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first lesson. As an overview this week, we will be covering romantic composers, interval reading, and then practice on the daily. So let's start off with our Romantic era composers. Now, these are any composers, so individuals who wrote music from around 1820 through about 1900. So honestly, not that long ago, only like, maybe 150 to 200 years ago. So not super long. I'm going to start off with Ludwig van Beethoven, probably the most famous one that you know. He absolutely loved coffee, and he always had exactly 60 coffee beans in every single cup. And he was very, very, very particular about it, and sometimes drove some people a little crazy. He would pour pitchers of cold water over his head before sitting down to compose. He felt like it really helped him focus and wake his brain up. He also had a really difficult time doing math, which is unusual for a lot of the great composers of the era, but he had a really hard time with math. He also loved to be outside, and he kept a pet starling, which is a type of bird named Lulu. So this is just part of his Symphony No. 5 in C minor. It opens with the Fate motif, which is just a group of sounds as an idea, as a motif. And the Fate motif, just kind of see if you recognize it. It's probably going to feel a little powerful and pretty dramatic. Hey, awesome. So that specific motif, again, that I sound as an idea, is used in a lot of movie soundtracks to inspire the music, especially for like Marvel and DC and like superhero type music. So there's Beethoven. Next up, we have Amy Beach. She was the first successful American woman composer, and she loved to use American folk music with other ethnic music in her compositions. She really liked to bring cultures together, while her music felt lively and upbeat and exciting for the listener, as well as the individual who was playing the piano. She really wanted to pursue her passions, despite the fact that back then it wasn't normally expected for a woman to be a composer, and she also really pushed other women to do it as well. So here's one of her most famous ones. She really enjoyed composing with both the cello and the piano together. So in this specific one of Romance Opus 23, there's the cello as the melody, and then the piano is the accompaniment. This one's going to feel a little bit more gentle and sweet, which is a big contrast from Beethoven. So that one was Romance by Amy Beach. Again, that more gentle and sweet sounding. Next up, we have Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. He was fascinated with the number 13, was convinced the world surrounded itself with the number 13 and that it was the absolute luckiest number ever. He also loved to write letters to his friends and family, and he was extra sensitive to specific sounds like chewing and sniffling. So kind of think about that at home. If you're a little bit like that too, you're kind of like Tchaikovsky. And he typically used Russian folk music in his compositions. You likely know him from things like Swan Lake or the Nutcracker. He did a lot for the ballets. So this one is the Swan Lake Opus 20, so it's their theme song, composed for the ballet, and it has that feeling of airiness and mystery, which typically Tchaikovsky did have in most of his music. Okay, so there it is, that airy and mysterious feeling. All right, and last but not least, we have Teresa Carreño. She actually played for President Abraham Lincoln when she was 11 years old. She was flown up from Venezuela, where she grew up, to play at the White House. Kind of cool. And not only did she then play, she then went on to compose many pieces for the White House as well as other places. She loved incorporating those deep emotions. That way you could really feel her music, and earned the nickname the Valkyrie of the piano. So here is Gottschalk's Waltz, which is composed to bring enchantment into storytelling, because she wants your feelings to be a story that you're playing on the piano. So this specific one is supposed to feel energetic and just full of joy. Hey, so there's Gottschalk's Waltz. Again, that energetic, lively feeling gets you up and moving around. So for our assignment today, use that chat box inside of Musi. Tell me 2 things you learned about any of these 4 composers, which piece of music you enjoyed the most, and why. And it does not have to be the same composer you talk about in part 1. And then I'm curious if you would rather play on the piano moody and mysterious music, kind of like Tchaikovsky, or joyful and energetic, a bit more like Teresa Carreño. So that is our first lesson for the week. I'll see you in our next lesson.